the legacy of slavery, Jim Crow, discrimination in almost every institution of our lives, that casts a long shadow. And that's still part of our DNA. That's passed on. We're not cured of it.
President Obama yesterday on Mark Maron's podcast, speaking about race relations in the U.S., the president's interview quickly encountered controversy after Mr. Obama uttered the N-word live on the air. The president also told Maron that societies cannot change overnight or erase their racial history. For more, let's turn to our panel. First, from Newsmax Washington, my old congressional colleague, Michael Patrick Flanagan, and Skyping in from Washington, Ari Rabin-Havt, former advisor to Senate Minority Leader Ari Reid. Ari, is it a big deal the president chose to say the N-word?
Look, I think the media coverage around this, actually, Vox pointed out, makes the president's point for him about how we cover, how we talk about race relations. And look, it's never been about the use of the word. It's the context of the word. It's the history of the word. It's the use of the word as a means to disempower people. That is the problem. Words themselves aren't evil, but the context around them can be, and that is the point the president was making. And
yet, Mike, had it been Dr. Ben Carson or one of the Republican candidates uttering the N-word, I have a hunch the media reaction would be a bit different.
Well, it certainly would have been. The presupposition is that the president is thoughtful and good and honest and gives us a little class when he uses the word, but any Republican who uses the word is really gurgling up this hatred that the president accuses us all of having 200 years after the fact. I'm sorry, I don't have any hate, and I don't need him telling me I have any. I don't use the word. I don't think anybody should use the word for exactly the reason Ari said, is that it's a very charged, very loaded word. And because the president wishes to impute it upon me does not mean that I carry it around. And it's politically good for him to consider me a racist, but it's not a good place to be for our president who's trying to bring us together.
Ari, you have a reaction?
Yeah, I don't think the president called you a racist. I think he said our society, which, by the way, experienced basically 350 years of formal legal racism, is still having the effects of that racism. And I don't think that's a controversial statement. He wasn't calling you a racist. He wasn't saying it's in your heart, sir, that you're a racist. He was saying it has infected our society like a disease, which it has, and it's a disease that will take a long time to cure. That was his point.
Michael, is there...
I'm sorry, I have only one personality, and if we have racism in us, I got it in me, you got it in you, we all got it in us. And I'm sorry, I can't let that slide anymore. I'm tired of having these oblique slaps.
So you don't think there's any racism?
We give you time, Ari. Let Michael respond.
I'm not, and I'm tired of being told I am.
It's this notion, this assumption that there will always be miles to go, that no matter what progress is made, it's just never enough. That's imputed to so many people. And, there's one thing about having an ideal, but in some ways, the president who was supposed to be the post-racial president has made this the most racial administration. Now, Ari, you may have a different point of view, and you're certainly welcome to it, and you can express it right here.
Look, I think my point of view is the president wasn't saying you're a racist. He wasn't saying anybody's a racist. But racism and structural racism, and by the way, there's a huge difference between bigotry and racism, right? Racism is a structural issue that still penetrates our society, be it in housing, be it in education, be it in so many ways, be it in our criminal justice system, where a white person, even though we smoke marijuana at exactly the same rates as black people, are incarcerated at a tiny percentage of the degree. That's an example of structural racism right there. It's not you being a racist. It's our society, our criminal justice system impugning that racism.
So it's not individual, it's institutional. But Mike, it's almost like our friends on the left, when it comes to the issue of spending, somehow it's just never enough. And one gets the suspicion that the implication is when it comes to matters of race, quote, it's just never enough. 30 seconds for your take, Mike Flanagan.
We love our troops, but we hate the war that they're fighting. It's this dichotomy that's in liberals' heads where they can divorce themselves from the issue and still be for the issue. 360,000 deaths in the Civil War time. 6 quarts of man is an ocean of blood. The sin of slavery has been expiated. The sin of Jim Crowism and other things that have happened afterward are still things that we must wrestle with and we must work with. But I am no racist, and I'm tired of my president obliquely referring to me as one.
Ari Rabin-Havt, Michael Patrick Flanagan, gentlemen, to you both, our thanks for a most passionate, insightful discussion. Now, after that heavy subject, you might want to take a vacation, and Newsmax wants to send one lucky couple on a 7-day Silver Sea cruise to the Caribbean this winter. This luxury cruise aboard the Silver Wind is the trip of a lifetime. To win it, you need to enter our sweepstakes. Visit newsmax.com/sweepstakes to enter. That's newsmax.com/sweepstakes. We're coming right back.